Okay, friends, welcome to this lecture on political ideology. So, friends, happy news. We are moving on to the fourth module of your syllabus for political theory. Today onwards, we will have a long series of lectures on political ideologies. There are different political ideologies. Most of you may be familiar with the ideologies which we are supposed to discuss in the coming classes. So there are so many ideologies, as you already know: fascism or Nazism, liberalism, neoliberalism, Marxism, socialism, Gandhism, feminism. A wide variety of ideologies in political debates. And friends, before entering into a very detailed discussion on different ideological perspectives about the world, this lecture is meant to give you a brief outline of, or a brief explanation of, the meaning of political ideology. So political ideology has a distinct meaning in social theories, which we will cover in today's lecture. Friends, first you assume that all of us are, all the people whom we know are somehow political thinkers. All the people in the world engage in some kind of political thinking. And people often use political ideas and concepts in their life on a routine basis. Or when we wanted to express an opinion, or you wanted to present some ideas, you want to speak your mind to the world, friends, we always use ideology, that we express our opinions, ideas, and we express ourselves, or even including our emotion. These are all governed by certain kinds of ideologies towards which we have faith. So that's why our everyday language is littered with so many terms, such as you say, I have a freedom, I need fairness, or I need equality, I need justice, I need rights. Friends, when you say these, when you speak up these kinds of concepts, friends, you are presenting these concepts with an ideological baggage, that you say freedom, fairness, equality, justice, etc. These are vocabularies endowed with or backed with certain ideological baggages. And we often use these vocabularies regularly in several occasions. Going to market, you're shopping in the street, watching movies, you're traveling by bus to your office or your school, you're hanging out with friends. Friends, you see, ideologies surround you, and ideologies shape your behavior no matter where you are. And we used to see people branding others. We used to see other people branding other people saying that, oh, look at that person. He's a conservative minded person because he criticizes women using kurta or jeans. Or you might say, look at that person. See, that person is a liberal. He's a very free thinking person. Or you may say, looking at other people, you just look at that person. Yeah, that person is a socialist. Or often you come across people branding other people as, look at that person. He is a Gandhian, a communist, or fascist. See, you might have seen some people arguing against other people. Look at that person. He's intolerant. He never admits other people's arguments. He has no respect for other people's arguments. You will say that person is fascist. So these are, regularly employed. These words are regularly employed by all of us, either to describe your own views about world or other people's views about the world. Even though, friends, such words are so much familiar and we frequently use it in our everyday life, we seldom use these words with any precision. When you say, oh, that person is a fascist, oh, communist, Gandhian, liberal, conservative. But friends, the point is that none of us are found using these words with any precision. And most people, of course, use these words without a clear grasp of the meaning of these words. You are saying, some people simply brand that, oh, I am communist. Some people simply tell about them, their ideological faith. I am a liberal. I am communist. I am socialist. But, we don't know whether they really know the meaning, whether they got the meaning of that words. It's said that, people use these words without a clear grasp of the meaning of these words. For instance, you're going to an ATM counter where there is a big queue. You would see ideology formed that queue, equality, first come, first serve. That's an ideology. That queue is formed on the basis of an ideological baggage. That's why, an ATM queue is formed by an ideology. You're going to watch a movie in the cinemas. You would see people in search of entertainment find ideology in a movie hall. Look, they formed a queue in the ticket counter. Of course, that queue is formed by an ideology. Or you are going by bus. You have seen the teenager has given his seat to a senior citizen. Or a teenager has given his or her seat to a pregnant woman. You can see ideology works there. So you see that someone has violated the queue in the ATM counter or on the passport office. Suddenly someone has popped up from the street and saying that all people are equal. Why should you break the queue? Please form the queue. That is ideology. That's an act or that person is saying something from an ideological baggage. So, friends, people say, I have equality, I have liberty, I have justice. Or people say socialist, fascist, conservative, communist, Gandhian. But friends, people commonly misuse these words. Without properly understand the meaning of these words, we are simply using it against other people or for ourselves. That's why we often ask, what does it mean to say fascism or conservatism or communism or Gandhianism? or Gandhism. These things we often come across in our everyday life, but we rarely understand the meaning of these words in the proper sense. And let us understand what is the role of ideas in your life. What is the role of ideas in your life? So ideas got a purpose in our life. That is what social theories believes. That is what social science believes. That is what political theory believes. That is, ideas got a purpose in our life. It got a role in our life. What is it? And friends, in the beginning, you assume that not all the thinkers have accepted that ideas and ideologies have importance in life. That is, the point is very clear. Not all the people in the world, that means not all the philosophers. Am I audible, friends?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, not all the philosophers in the world have accepted the fact that ideology has importance in human life. Because most people believe politics is something which involves a naked struggle for power. Politics that we see every day, our parliamentarians, we are casting our votes, political campaigning, all these activities are nothing but naked struggle for power. And friends, if you think politics as naked struggle for power, then what is political ideology? Let us think, what is political ideology? If politics is naked struggle for power, that people wanted to acquire power by any means, if that is politics, what is the meaning of political ideology? Nothing but it is mere propaganda, right? Why? Because people who wanted to gain political power use ideology which is seen as a propaganda just to gain political power. So that is a one-sided worldview, a skewed interpretation of world. Such people use ideology as a means for presenting a wrong interpretation to the world. That is, ideology for such people, it is a form of words or a collection of slogans. Form of words or a collection of slogans designed to win votes in election. That's why many people believe ideology is stupid things. This is nothing, simply window dressing. That is, ideology is used simply to conceal the deeper realities of life. Okay, we wanted to cover up something. We wanted to conceal something. We wanted that the world should never know the reality. That's why some people, it is said that use ideology in order to cover up realities. And in a sense, this view of ideology was supported by behavioralism. Behavioralism believed that people's behavior or people's actions or people's thought process are stimulated by external factors. This thinking subject, there is no thinking subject in us. Behavioralism believes that humans are not thinking subject. There is nothing substantial in their mind. They just respond to external events. That is what behavioralism tell you. And they never believe that, people are motivated by ideas or values, feelings, or intentions. These are insignificant things to behavioralists. That's why behavioralists uphold that. Why should people need ideology? You don't need any kind of ideology. Why? Because your behavior is just a response to some certain external factors. You don't have any thinking mind. You don't need ideas or emotions to shape your action. We all human beings are simply responding to external stimuli. This is what behavioralists tell. Friends, a similar view has been upheld by Marxists. A similar view has been upheld by Marxists. Marxism believes that political ideas can be understood in the light of class interest. That is, I have a class interest, you have a class interest. And what is your class interest? That you wanted to have some money, or you wanted to get your interest, or your dreams, or your certain intentions satisfied. You wanted to achieve something. That is your class interest. And I too have my own class interest. And of course, people use ideology to justify and to promote your class interest. That is, ideology always have a material basis. That you wanted to get a job, or you wanted to torpedo the government, you wanted to become an Naxal, you wanted to become a Maoist, or you wanted to become a free-thinking person. Friends, all this is because the material world, or our worldview has a material basis. That is, the material things will not have existence with an ideological baggage, or ideologies will not get any significance without material basis. Both things are complementary for Marxist. That is, if you have an ideology, that ideology will have a material basis. If you have a certain material interest, which will have an ideological basis. Two things are complementary. But friends, this is what Marxism says, and earlier I told you what behavioralists said about ideology. But friends, on the contrary, there is another view about ideology. What is it? Let us examine. What is it? There are certain opposite views about ideology. That is, a British economist, Keynes, John Maynard Keynes, argued the world is ruled by ideas. The world is ruled by the ideas of economists and the ideas of political philosophers. He stated this in his famous book, General Theory, that the world is ruled by ideas. And he even said, the whole world is ultimately ruled by academic scribblers. SCRIBBLERS. Academic scribblers. That is, academic writers. Those who make a living on the basis of writing, professional writing. Those professional writers had created the world. Keynes says, that is, scribblers are persons who writes for a living, or or their rights for a hobby. For example, modern capitalism. For example, if you think about ideology from the perspective of what John Maynard Keynes said, we can see that modern capitalism, that is one of the ruling ideologies in the world. Modern capitalism developed out of the writings of two important writers, that the present day America or Britain, European Union, or all the countries that are, we say capitalist. These societies emerged just because of two writers. Who are them? Adam Smith and David Ricardo. Two writers created the whole capitalist world. Or you can see on the other side, three writers created the destiny of half of the world's population. They are Karl Marx, V.I. Lenin, and Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong's writings created Chinese communism. V.I. Lenin's writings created Soviet communism. And Karl Marx, whose ideologies inspired communist societies all over the world. By the 19th century, friends, by the end of 19th century, 2/3 of the world were ruled by Marxist ideologies. That is, 2/3 of the world once were, one way or another way, was influenced by Marxism, simply as an ideology. The Lenin created Soviet communism. Mao created Chinese communism. Or Fidel Castro created Cuban communism. Or you just look at the history of the world between interwar period. See, historians argue that history of the world will be different hadn't Adolf Hitler written Mein Kampf, My Struggle. If Adolf Hitler hadn't written Mein Kampf, friends, the history of the world will be different, and there will not be a World War II, there will not be fascism, and the history of the world will be different. And you can see, in a way, interpret that the history of the whole world, in a sense, was shaped by a simple book, Mein Kampf. Because in that book, he proposed a famous ideology, fascism. So in reality, friends, people who say that ideology is not significant and people who say that ideology is significant, they may be right or they may be wrong. We don't know. That behavioralists say that, or Marxists say that ideology is not that significant because people use ideology just to achieve their particular interest. Or on the other side, people like Keynes argue that ideology is the most significant thing because they are created world. Marxism, writings of Marx; Leninism, writings of Lenin; Maoism, writings of Mao; or fascism, the writings of Hitler, Mein Kampf. Be it behavioralist or Marxist. Anyway, all their writings are one-sided. Of course, maybe right or wrong, but we can see that their writings are one-sided. And political ideas, friends, are not merely passive reflection of personal ambitions. Political ideologies are not passive reflection of personal ambitions of leaders or philosophers. Political ideas have capacity to inspire. Political ideas have capacity to inspire your behavior. It acts as a guide to many people. Ideology acts as a guide to many people. But friends, at the same time, keep in mind, political ideas never emerge in vacuum. One day you go to a room and close the door, switch on the light and AC, and take a pen and paper and start writing something on a plain paper, and you read it again and again, polish the idea, and you say that I proposed an idea. No, friends, that is not idea. Idea does not occur in vacuum. It's not, coming from sky, or it's not coming from rain, or it's not coming from water, or it's not coming from material things. Not like that. Ideas are shaped by socio-economic circumstances. Ideas are shaped by historical circumstances. That is, ideas and practices are interlinked. Our behavior, our action, and ideas we have are closely connected. There is a fine balance between social conditions on the one side and ideas we have on the other side. There is a fine balance between social conditions on the one side and ideas on the other side. That is, ideas shape life in a number of ways. Ideas shape life in a number of ways. First, let us understand what are the ways in which ideas influence our life. First point, friends, ideas provide a perspective. Ideas provide a perspective or a lens through which you can understand and explain the world. Clear? It gives you a perspective or a lens. Say, Gandhism. Gandhism was a lens. Gandhi was born in a time the world was bifurcated sharply between two dominant ideologies. Friends, can you tell me what were those ideologies? The time Gandhi was born, two ideologies dominated. Can you tell me? Anyone? A wild guess? No, you can't. Nobody is able to tell me. One is Marxism. Other one is liberalism. Have you heard about these ideas? Marxism and liberalism? Right? They were born, they were matured by 19th century. And Gandhi was a product of 20th century. And by the time Gandhi was born, there were only two reigning ideas, Marxism and liberalism. And friends, Gandhi was never a Marxist. Gandhi was never a liberal. What we have seen is that Gandhi proposed his own way of interpreting the world, and later world called it Gandhism. That is a spectacular way of interpreting the whole world. That was neither Marxist nor liberal. That is, ideologies give you a perspective to interpret the world. It's a lens or a radar. Second, political ideas help you shape political systems. If you have political ideas, you can shape political system. Friends, most of the political systems in the world are shaped by political ideologies. Most countries in the world are shaped by political ideologies. Look at China, friends. What type of ideology it is? Tell me. China, what kind of ideology it is? No, nobody can say. Yes, yes.
Communism.
Communism or some type of socialism. Some type of socialism. You just look at North Korea, friends. What type of ideology it is? North Korea. What kind of ideology formed? Yes,
Communism.
some kind of communism, right? Look at United States of America. What type of ideology it is? USA. Yes, liberalism, capitalism. Yeah, right. You are right. Friends, you go to Scandinavian countries. What kind of ideology it is? Yeah,
Socialism,
socialism,
liberalism,
liberalism, liberalism.
Demo-
You know what are the Scandinavian countries? You know, Finland, Norway, Netherlands, Sweden. Have you heard about these countries? They are called Scandinavian countries. Tell me, what are their ideology? The ideology which shaped those countries. Is it liberal countries? No. Is it socialist countries? No. They call themselves as social democracies. They call themselves as social democracies. Friends, you just go to Pakistan. What kind of ideology shaped Pakistan? Friends, you tell me. What kind of ideology shaped the society of Pakistan? Can anyone say? No. Is it democracy, Pakistan democracy, friends?
No.
No.
No. Is it socialist?
No.
No. Pakistan is always termed as a country which is ruled by theocracy. Right? It's a theocratic society where religion is dominant, faith is dominant. So, friends, if you go to Idi Amin's country, or if you go to Pol Pot's country, Cambodia, or if you go to Hitler's country, you will see that some kind of ideology shaped the nature of the political system. Sometimes they may be socialist, or communist, or totalitarian, dictatorship, democracy, socialist society, or liberal society. See, institutions are shaped by some kind of ideology. And finally, a third role of political ideology is that political ideologies can act as a social cement, act as a social fabric. Ideology can act as a social fabric. It provides support to social groups or to the whole society. It will gather people with beliefs and values. For example, middle class. Friends, can you tell me which ideology middle class always prefer? Can you tell me which ideology middle class people always prefer and support? Socialism? Democracy? Liberalism? Middle class people support Marxism. Friends?
Liberalism.
Yes, middle class people always prefer liberal ideas. Friends, can you tell me people who always argue that God is the first thing or faith in a religion is the best thing? Can you tell me such people, such religious people, which type of ideas they prefer, friends?
theology,
Theology. Any more views? One friend said it is they will prefer theology. Friends, there will be such people will be more conservative. They are called conservative people because they believe in religion, God, history, institutions created by past scriptures. And friends, can you tell me which ideology the poorest people in your society prefer?
Socialist.
Socialism.
Poor people will always prefer socialism. Why? Friends, can you tell me why? Why poor people prefer socialism? At the same time, middle class people prefer liberalism. Can you tell me? No. You
അവർക്ക്
can't.
മിനിമം ജീവിത ഇത് നിലവാരം ഉറപ്പുവരുത്തുന്ന ഒരിതാണ്.
For the poor people, right, Nandana? Yes. Poor people always believe that they will get minimum support from socialist ideas. But at the same time, middle class prefer liberalism because they believe that liberalism will give them mobility from one class position to another class position because they are thinking that labor will be rewarded, merit will be rewarded in a liberal society. So that way, friends, the whole societies and its people, its groups are cemented by faith in an ideology. That way, it has basically three roles in society. First one is that it gives you a perspective to interpret the world. Second, it help you shape the political system of your society. Third, it gives you a platform for bringing various groups together. And friends, let us define it. What is ideology actually? And a writer called David McClan in a 1995 study defined that ideology is the most elusive concept in the whole of social sciences. He was saying that it is the most elusive concept. First, there is link between ideas, theory and practice. Second, ideology cannot stand apart from the struggle among different political ideologies. That if you believe in an ideology, if you have faith in an ideology, you cannot take it and go away or to run away to some other places. No. If you have an ideology, you have to struggle with that ideology in the company of other ideologies and make arguments and fight with them. And that is also considered one of the virtuous activities in human world, that you have to argue on the basis of ideology you have. And friends, if it is considered that you have to bring a link between ideas and practice, or you cannot stand alone in the competing struggles between different ideologies, people always tried to define it. What exactly we can say about ideology? And some people say these are the following things about ideology. You can write it down. First one, political ideology is a belief. It is a belief that we have faith in something. And that faith is always reasonable. That you believe in God is not reasonable. That is just unconditional love. Faith in God is unconditional love. But faith in an ideology is not unconditional. Faith in an ideology is based on reason, intelligence. Your intelligence tells you that is good for the society. And ideology is action oriented. You look at all the ideologies in the world, friends. All the ideologies generate action. It propels action. Fascism, Nazism, communism, socialism, or Leninism, Stalinism, Maoism, Gandhism. You look feminism. All ideas or ideologies result in some kind of action in the street. A third interpretation is that ideas are the ideas of ruling class. Those who have power in society shape ideas. Ordinary people has no say in the shaping of ideas. This is a third interpretation. A fourth view is that idea is a particular worldview of a particular social class. It's a particular worldview of a particular social class. And some people like Marxists argue that ideology is false consciousness. Ideology is false consciousness. Some people argue that ideology is abstract or highly systematic set of ideas, political ideas. This is another interpretation. It's abstract and highly systematic set of political ideas. But anyway, friends, the term ideology was coined by a French writer, Destet de Tracy. You can refer it to the reading file I have shared on your Google Classroom, where you will get the spelling and other things. And he used this word in 1796. He used this word in 1796. For Tracy, for D. Tracy, ideology means science of ideas. Ideology means science of ideas. That is, science of ideas is literally ideology. Science of ideas is literally ideology. And if it were, he was saying that we can objectively uncover the origin of ideas in the world. We can objectively uncover the origin of different ideas in the world. That's why he called ideology as science of ideas. This is science. Ideology is science. So, we can interpret ideology in two ways. One is, we can see it as a set of ideas, that is ideology. And on the other side, we can approach ideology from another perspective. That is, we can interpret ideology as science of ideas, like what D. Tracy said, the French writer D. Tracy said. That is, ideology is the science of ideas. On the other side, some people say that if you say ideology, if you define ideology, it is set of ideas, certain perspectives about the world. That is, first thing, ideology is a set of ideas. If you say ideology is a set of ideas, then let us see what it is. That is, ideology is faith, that you have unconditional faith in a particular ideology. That you have seen some people say, yes, I support CPIM. I am a Congress. Or I am, a Sangh or RSS. What they are saying? They say that they believe in a particular kind of ideology. That's why it is a matter of faith and no scientific basis in their argument. They simply believe in the leader, in the party ideology, in the philosophy of that social groups. And no matter what, all the actions of that party and leader is simply acknowledged and endorsed and glorified. Some people saying that I love Narendra Modi, I like Pinarayi Vijayan. When they say that, they have unconditional faith in the behavior, in the leader, in the party manifesto, in the party perspective, in the party interpretations of things. Such people, when they say that they love that ideology, we can see that their ideology has no scientific base. This is simply faith. They have blind faith in ideology. That's why they support that leader. Some people saying that Narendra Modi is my favorite leader. They say like that because they have faith in a particular ideology. And friends, in that sense, ideologies are very, there are different types of ideologies. If you have faith in certain ideas, we can say that there are different types of ideologies. For example, liberalism is an ideology. And some people have unconditional faith in liberalism. They believe that liberalism has solution to all the problems. Or capitalism, socialism, Marxism, communism, anarchism, fascism, or imperialism, nationalism, or say internationalism. These are all ideologies, friends. Once more, liberalism, capitalism, socialism, Marxism, communism, anarchism, fascism, imperialism, nationalism, internationalism. And people who support any of these ideologies will have unconditional faith, and they submit themselves to that ideology, and they will not use their brain intelligence. Haven't you seen simply people saying that Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan is a great leader? When they say that, they never apply their brain. Why? Because they have blind faith in a particular ideology and in a particular leader. They never use a rational mind. For them, whatever the leader is doing is right. In a sense, they're making the leader and the party as in a religion. They see their party and their ideologies just like a religion, and leaders are just like God. When say that particular leader is a great leader, these people is simply seeing that leader as a God-man-like leader. This is one way of viewing ideology, friends. And most of us are some kind of, some way or other are ideologies like this, that we have unconditional faith in some ideologies. We might have seen in your class people arguing that arguing for a particular leader or a particular party on the basis of certain ideologies they believe. On the other side, friends, we can see ideology as science of ideas. That is what D. Tracy said. This is a concern of academics. That this is our concern. That is, we view ideology as science. We look at how ideas are formed in the society. How ideas are formed in the society. And how ideas are distorted and misinterpreted in the society. That's why we say ideology is science of ideas. As I told you, it was proposed by Descartes de Tracy, a French scholar, writer. He defined ideology as the study of the process of forming ideas. Ideology as the study of the process of forming ideas, how society shape ideas. That study is called ideology. Tracy said, a society shapes its ideas in response to physical environment. That is, ideology of a particular society is connected directly to the material reality of that society. That is, supernatural forces or spiritual phenomena will not give shape to ideology. Only physical matter will give shape to ideology. This is what Tracy said. That's why he said ideology is science of ideas. And Francis Bacon had already held this kind of view in the 16th century or 17th century. an English philosopher, Francis Bacon, in the 17th century, viewed that it is possible to propose accurate ideas based on observation. You can propose accurate information or accurate ideas on the basis of physical observation. So Tracy and Bacon are the exponents of the science of ideas. They view ideology as science of ideas. But friends, in contemporary literature, ideology is not viewed like what Tracy said or Bacon said. In contemporary literature, in contemporary social science literature, ideology is not viewed as a study of how a society shapes its ideas. Rather, we in contemporary literature view ideology as set of ideas. We have a set of ideas which are adopted by people in order to achieve specific goals in that society. That I believe in socialism. That's why I believe in equality. That's why I believe in nationalization of banks. I believe in community production. That is, production should be nationalized. And when we have that idea, we have in mind that we have to achieve equality, a predetermined goal. That is, we have already something in mind and we wanted to achieve those things in our mind through a particular interpretation of world. And friends, at the same time, there is another school of thought called critical theory. Critical theory is a type of interpretation of world. They believe that human society did not become rational. Human society did not become rational. It is yet to evolve. Human society, human mind, or human intelligence is not evolved. It is yet to evolve. Man is yet to become intelligent. We are not intelligent. So we cannot apply the laws of natural science to understand man's behavior. So what we can do to predict human behavior? We can bring about theories regarding man's behavior through ideology. That's critical theory says you can predict man's behavior through ideology. Why? Because man's mind did not evolve. It is not mature. So we can use ideology instead of laws used in natural sciences. So this is another way of interpretation of ideology. Then friends, there are Karl Mannheim's interpretations of ideology. There are Lukács' interpretation, Lukács, Lukács' interpretation of ideology. Karl Mannheim and Lukács are famous exponents of ideology. With this, friends, I would like to end this lecture, and now the floor is open for discussion. You can have questions, friends.